What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my main event breakdown and prediction for UFC Paris. We have Ciryl Gane going against Serghei Spivak.
I need all the wins, yeah. All that and all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back for another main event breakdown and prediction video. This week we are breaking down a very good main event. I'm not a big fan of the card as a whole for UFC Paris. There are a ton of newcomers. I think there's like 8 or 9 newcomers. I mean, it's ridiculous this week, but this is a main event I love. Really looking forward to this one. A striker versus grappler matchup. And yeah, I can't wait to see how it all plays out. Before we get into it, if you guys can please do me a favor, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. It is always much appreciated. I'll be pumping out content throughout the week for UFC Paris, betting, DraftKings, prize picks, and much more. And then also content for Dana White's Contender Series as well. So be on the lookout for all of that. And with all that out of the way, I say we get into it, and we're going to start with the tail of the tape between the two. And let's start with one Ciryl Gane, who is 33 years old, 6'4", with an 81-inch reach, 11-2 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Serghei Spivak, 28 years old, 6'3", with a 78-inch reach, 16-3 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds. We see that Ciryl Gane is currently sitting at -175. And Serghei Spivak is currently sitting at +145. So very fascinating matchup here. Serghei Spivak is a very interesting character. This is a guy that I remember this guy, from a couple years ago when he made his debut against Walt Harris. I think it might have been short notice even, which was back in 2019 at this point. And I remember watching him and thinking he was a bum. I really did think that. And then he came in against Walt Harris, and he looked like a bum. He got finished in 50 seconds there. And after that moment, I kind of completely written him off, and a lot of people did, to the point where he was a pretty big underdog against Tai Tuivasa in his next matchup. And then Serghei Spivak went out there and just ragdolled Tai Tuivasa, took him down 6 times. I was like, who the heck is this guy, Serghei Spivak? And I was very impressed with that performance against Tuivasa. Then he loses Tybura, but after that, racks up wins against Carlos Felipe, Jared Vanderaa, and Alexei Oleinik. And then he had that short notice spot against Tom Aspinall, gets knocked out there as well. So it seems like both in both times where he did take fights on short notice, he got starched in the first round. And then he goes out there, he beats Greg Hardy, Augusto Sakai, and then his best win to date was against Derek Lewis. His last 3 fights, he's looked phenomenal. I think Serghei Spivak is making a ton of improvements, going out there and just taking these guys down, guys that, weigh 265. I mean, he was tossing Greg Hardy around. Same thing with Derek Lewis, just tossing this guy around. I mean, it's ridiculous how good Serghei Spivak is when it comes to the ground game. The striking, not so much. It's most definitely a work in progress. I have some concerns about the durability. I don't like how he reacts to shots. And, of course, on the feet, Ciryl Gane is going to have just a significant advantage. I mean, on the feet, Ciryl Gane is going to be the much, much, much better striker by a mile, no matter how much improvements Serghei Spivak has made in the striking. So it's clear as day. It's a striker versus grappler matchup. On the feet, Ciryl Gane is going to have a significant advantage. And on the mat, in my opinion, Serghei Spivak is going to have a very, very significant advantage. So it's all going to come down to who is able to implement their game plan. We see with Ciryl Gane, this guy Gane has 2 losses in the UFC. And, these losses come against Francis Ngannou and John Jones. Incredible heavyweights, right? And, it's not that he lost to them, because those aren't bad losses at all. For me, it's just kind of how he lost to them. I remember watching the Francis Ngannou fight, and I remember being just shocked what happened in that fight. And what happened was Francis Ngannou, for like the first time in his career, went out there and just ragdolled Ciryl Gane. The excuses after that fight were, Ciryl Gane wasn't prepared for that, and he probably wasn't, but my goodness, Francis Ngannou was going out there and just out-grappling Ciryl Gane, and Ngannou was putting Gane in bad spots. At one point, he had him flattened out. At one point, he could have taken the back, but as we know, Francis Ngannou is not a grappler by any means. So I'm not really sure how to think of that. And then the next fight against John Jones is the GOAT. It's undeniable. But my goodness, I mean, nobody can look at me with a straight face and say Jon Jones was going to go out there and submit Ciryl Gane in the very first round. I picked Jon Jones to win. A lot of people actually were picking Gane in that matchup, but I picked Jon Jones to win. That was like the outcome I least expected. Like the over 4.5 rounds, I think, was juiced in that fight. That fight was like favored to go the distance, and Jon Jones takes this guy down and subs him in the first round. And you could say, oh, it's Jon Jones. Yeah, it is, but that was Jon Jones's first round submission in his UFC career. So yes, he's losing to phenomenal guys in Jon Jones and Ngannou, but my goodness, I mean, it's just not a good look. How his ground game looks just so bad against these guys. And Serghei Spivak has an incredible ground game. This guy's a very good wrestler. He has a really good ability to get the fight down to the mat. Very physically strong. His grappling's good. He has an incredible ground and pound as well. He has good cardio. He has the ability to wrestle, take you down. If you get back up, you're going back down. Great chain wrestling. Serghei Spivak is getting better and better, and he's young. He's only 28 years old, which is extremely young for a heavyweight. Ciryl Gane's pretty young himself for a heavyweight. So I guess it's all going to come down to who's going to be able to implement their game plan. Is Gane going to be able to stick on the outside, stuff takedowns? If he does that, he's going to look minus 1,000. He's a much, much better striker, and it's not even close, and I think he can knock out Serghei Spivak. But if Serghei Spivak can close the distance, get a hold of Ciryl Gane, drag him down to the mat, Serghei Spivak's going to look like a massive favorite. So, kind of pick your poison, but, I think this fight should be lined a lot closer to a pick'em. I think this fight can go one of two ways. I think, Gane does keep the range, keep it on the feet and knocks out Spivak, or Spivak gets a hold of him, takes him down, and just dominates him. I don't like how Gane looks on the ground against guys like Jones and Ngannou, and Spivak is a very, very, very dangerous grappler. Like I said, very good ground and pound. So we are in the big cage for what it's worth, but I believe the Ngannou fight and I know for sure the Jon Jones fight was in a big cage, and the Ngannou fight, that was also in a big cage. That was in California. So yeah, we're in a big cage once again, which I feel like it does favor Gane, being in a big cage. But like I said, if Serghei Spivak is able to close the distance here, get on top, I think he's going to pose a ton of problems for Gane and probably finish him fairly quickly. So, I'm going to pick Spivak here to win. I'm going to take Spivak to get the fight down to the mat and eventually get into a dominant position and either submit Gane or finish him via TKO. But we'll see what happens here. So from a betting perspective, I actually do like the money line of Spivak. This is a guy in Spivak who there's some performances he looks very, very good, and there's some performances where he looks like a complete bum, like the Aspinall fight and like the Walt Harris fight, and maybe that happens here. But if we get the best version of Spivak, he shows up, ready to go and gets his fight down to the mat, I think he could look like a big favorite here and finish the fight. So yeah, I like the Spivak money line. I think this should be a pick. I mean, I don't know why Gane is this big of a favorite, because Spivak has such a big advantage. I mean, it's clear as day. So I'm not sure why Gane's this big of a favorite. Could he win? Yeah, sure, absolutely. If he's able to, implement his game plan of keeping it on the feet, but Spivak can, also implement his game plan of getting it down to the mat. So I think it should be a pick'em. The line makes no sense to me. And then another play I do like is the under in this matchup. Striker versus grappler matchup. On the feet, Gane's going to have a significant advantage. And, Gane is kind of known as a decision guy, but I don't know. I went back and watched that Tai Tuivasa fight. Gane was hurting Tai Tuivasa multiple times, and Tai Tuivasa's very, very tough. Gane was hurting him to the body, had a head kick mix in there. So yeah, I think he can absolutely finish Spivak on the feet. And then vice versa, Spivak gets it down to the mat. I absolutely think that Spivak can finish Ciryl Gane. So I like the under 2.5 rounds, about a pick'em as well. Striker versus grappler. Both guys are going to be dangerous wherever the fight takes place. But I'm going to go with Serghei Spivak to get this done. I'll say he gets it done early. I hate what I see from Gane on the ground. If Spivak gets it down to the mat, I think it's going to be over shortly after. So give me Serghei Spivak to win. I'll take Serghei Spivak to win by first round sub. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know who you guys have down in the comments. Be on the lookout for the full card breakdown and prediction video, potentially dropping Monday. This card's a little bit harder to research considering there's like 50 newcomers, so it's taken me a lot longer than usual to tape some of these fights. But aiming for Monday, if not Tuesday at the latest. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe to the channel, guys, and best of luck for UFC Paris. Should be a phenomenal main event here. See you guys later.